like, I don't care how much fucking magic markers Cash Patel and Pam Bondi take to that thing. Like, the information's coming out.
Right. And
anyway, go on. Go back into it.
But you do have people starting to turn. People in his camp starting to turn on him. Most notably,
well,
Marjorie Taylor
100%,
Greene.
because you know it's kind of beautiful. It's one of the most hilarious leopard eat faces moment in all of this, because they are literally so fanatical to his cause and so devoted to the talking points that he's been spewing for the last few years, which is trying to roast every fucking neoliberal and pin Epstein on them. And that's not to say there aren't a whole bunch of fucking neoliberal icons in the Epstein reports and who were doing horrible things with children. Betting that's all true. However, now you have a whole bunch of Republican Epstein truthers that are like, yeah, we want Bill Clinton's ass. I want to know what Michelle Obama was doing in the basement of that pizza parlor in New Jersey, goddammit. Like, release the fucking name. They're not going to like a lot of the names that come out. They're not going to see certain names they're expecting.
This is about politics and plain aside, not about the truth.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's like the fanaticism has gone completely around the bend and brought them around to the other side.
Right. And for the record,
now he's kind of fucked because he's been spewing this shit for 8 years or whatever.
He campaigned for re-election on this issue.
So now all these crazy MAGA fanatics, whether it's somebody of a DeSantis type or a Marjorie Taylor Greene type or Clay Higgins or whomever, Matt Gaetz, whatever. These are all people that have been screaming for years and years that they want to like crucify Bill Clinton and Joe Biden and Barack Obama in the streets because they're trafficking children to drink their blood and like all this crazy shit that we've heard. I'm totally connecting dots that have nothing to do with each other to paint an absurd picture on purpose. I'm being hyperbolic, just couching. But like, yeah, it's like, okay, so you got to do it now. Honestly, I could give a shit what side of the aisle somebody falls on or what party they're registered.
Yeah, I
if you did horrible things to facilitate, if you did anything in the furtherance of trafficking children, whether you participated in it, you masterminded it, or you looked the other way so that it could happen and kept your fucking mouth shut because you liked the parties the pedophile threw, whatever, any role in it you had, you deserve to fry and be excommunicated from public society, or like from public life.
Yeah, I can say that as a left guy. Yes.
If Zoran Mamdani came out tomorrow as Jeffrey Epstein's right hand,
he's fucked.
Yeah,
bye.
Like I could.
But
that's why all this like fanatical tribalism with politicians is inherently both dangerous and stupid.
Bingo.
Because it makes you devoid. It makes the commitment and the community more important than fact.
Yeah.
And this is fucking politics and policy. This isn't sports.
Thank you. You said you fucking nailed it right there. Fucking nailed it.
If sports was politics, everybody should be a Dodger fan. You know what I mean? Because that's the best solution. That's the best organization. That's the best. You know what I mean? That's like doing it the Dodger way is conceivably best for everybody. So why isn't everybody a Dodger fan? Because it's fucking sports and it's emotional and it's geographic and it's tribal and fuck San Francisco and beat LA and fuck the Yankees and the Mets are trash. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But politics shouldn't be that.
For policy. It hasn't been about policy.
How much money are you putting in my bank account? How much money are you taking out of my bank account? How much control over my medical decisions do you have? How easy is it for me to cause change in my day-to-day life and the policies that are affecting me? These are the things I give a fuck about.
It does
Not who you hung out with, who you party like.
Mark, it does seem like though
so stupid.
And it's not in big numbers yet, though. But you start to see pivoting happening in the Republican Party now, because
you are seeing a big shift because motherfuckers are broke.
Well, not only that. After next year, the midterms, when the Democrats who should win back the House, Donald Trump at that point is a lame duck president. Okay,
100%.
And at that point,
obviously, it'll end up being more of the same too, because obviously, even if bills pass, he won't sign them. So unless an overwhelming midterm shift takes place to significantly change the makeup of both chambers, number one. And number two, a whole lot of Republicans start to defect from daddy's way of doing things. No bills are getting done because unless you got 2/3 of both chambers, you're not overriding a veto.
Right. And the thing is, too, also, you start seeing people, because after 2026, that's when people start making a position to run for president. How toxic is that ticket then? If the economy does not improve, okay, in the next year or two, and the Republicans lose the House in numbers like 2018, for example, okay, now you're in a situation where Trump can't necessarily save you anymore because he's up for re-election. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I think,
how do you pivot now? So people,
sorry.
I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing something here in the sense that it might be a little grifting her on here. I mean, for example, I'll play quick.
She is grifting, but she's she's a broken clock. She's right.
Yeah,
twice,
but
right twice a day.
For example, she went on CNN this week and actually apologized for behavior. Listen to this shit.
Yeah.
X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you.
Oh, Higher Learning
Obviously,
covered this one.
any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic
disregard her.
politics.
I want to blow smoke in her face.
It's very bad for our country. It's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions, and I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences. Yeah. And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
But look, it's probably a grift. I probably agree with him it's a grift, but it's still, listen, Mark, here's the thing though. I don't like her, okay? But here's the reality. It takes a lot of balls to go against Trump like this at this point now. It's not very popular in the base. It's not.
Okay. All right. So first, I literally just listened to this like yesterday or the day before because Higher Learning did one of Rachel's like apology ratings on this. So you can tag them in the show notes, Higher Learning Van and Rachel, because I want to give credit where credit is due, because I'm totally going to fucking paraphrase what Rachel said because I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And it's that on a scale of 1 to 10, this rating gets an NA, not applicable. And here's why. Number one, she almost immediately came right out and all but contradicted her statement by following up on Twitter or some social media platform or releasing a statement, some form or the other, written communication that was not on camera with Dana fucking Bash or whoever that was. That was Dana Bash, right?
It was Dana Bash, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it wasn't on camera, and she said, "I'm who I've always been. I stand for what I always stand for, blah, 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 blah." So she's still anti-DEI, she's still anti-trans, she's still anti all these things. The bar is on the fucking floor, and people are accepting breadcrumbs because politics has devolved into such nonsense and madness that anything even resembling logical thought has people going, "My God, they've seen the light."
That's a good point. That's a great point.
No, the fuck they haven't. It's just that you're so starved, a saltine feels like a banquet.
And then it makes you wonder too. Also, is she pivoting for a possible run at the Senate? Possible run at my buddy Jason said yesterday too. Same guy we were talking about earlier. He said that she turned on Trump because he wouldn't support her in a potential race against Ossoff.
She's trying to trick. Okay. You know what I think she's trying to do, because you know we've talked about this. This is it's a granular subset, but like. At the end of the day, winning a statewide election depends on getting at least some of the conservative Black folks who live in Fulton County and surrounding communities. Yeah. And when I talk about that, I mean people who historically vote Democrat, but they hold their nose doing so because everything about them is culturally aligned with conservatism, except for the fact that the Republican Party leans into racism, and that tends to take the auntie from church away from the redder side of the ticket.
Correct.
And what I think she's ultimately doing is pandering to TT.
Very possible.
She's trying to sound a little more measured, a little more moderate, a little more reasonable, at least at the, again, bars on the floor. She's admitting that Jewish space lasers aren't a thing in all of these conservative
QAnon. She denounced
yeah,
QAnon.
but at the end of the day, she's saying, yes, I'm sorry, but she's not really taking full responsibility for the harm that she caused.
Right.
Like, when you have a platform and a megaphone that loud and you're getting that much media attention and that much camera time, like, your words matter. And
Had
the
she
things
done
you
that,
say
though,
and the
would you-
positions you hold have impact. What about all the
Had-
violence that's
had
happened
she-
to trans kids because of the crazy shit she's said over the last 5
Let me ask you
6
this,
years?
Mark. Had she done that, though, had she apologized to David Hogg, had she apologized to Parkland survivors, had she done all those things, we feel a bit different about that now, or no?
No, because she still supports the same policies she supports. She has a baseline aversion to abject stupidity. Congratulations, like you have 7 brain cells.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna give her a fucking cookie for that.
Yeah. Okay. So I present to you.
She, like, people are practically at her district office doors with torches and pitchforks because even middle class people who make $140,000 a year can't afford an apartment in her district kind of situation. And like, even like that makes no sense, like where the poverty line has moved to.
Mhm.
And things that, for example, one of the little things in housing policy that I just learned about today, thanks to Ebony Warrior Studios, is, have you heard of something called a resident score in renting?
I feel like I have, but I've never seen it executed.
Okay, so this is a new, completely unregulated metric by which property management companies, specifically subsidiaries of large private equity firms such as BlackRock, are doing to disqualify renters. You have a credit score. We all know what a credit score is. Anybody born after 1980 knows what that is, right?
Right.
Well, for those of you who are a little younger than, say, Ernest and I that might be listening to this show, what you may not know is credit scores have only existed since 1989, and they were done.
Are you serious? Is that young?
Yes, look it up.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was a Reagan policy.
Yeah.
It's a limb on the tree of all of that shit we say that, like, take anything you hate about your life circumstances day to day and blame Reagan. 9 times out of 10, you're correct. Credit scores are thanks to Ronald Reagan. Ultimately, they're fruit of that poison tree. So they're going one step further, though. There's this algorithm that takes into account a whole variety of factors that it aggregates from available data on the internet. This is why it's so important to subscribe to scrubbing services that pull all your little fucking breadcrumbs off the internet 24 hours a day, because you never know what algorithms are collecting what data.
Yeah.
And so they're not just taking your credit score, your income, and your references. They're also running all of your information in all of your history that they can find. And mind you, they've got your social security number, your driver's license, your residential history, references to your life, which are likely family members, which they can make all kinds of other financial connections with through the internet. So the point is, they come up with this other score. And so Ebony was talking about this because he and his wife were trying to get a new apartment. And despite being, according to the terms of evaluation on the application, they were more than qualified. Income, credit, history, references, all boxes checked. And so he called TransUnion to figure out what the fuck happened. Like 590 was their credit score threshold. He didn't exactly tell us his FICO score on his Instagram.
Finance is considered like fair to poor.
Yeah, and he was like, "Well, it's he goes, my credit score is well over that, especially with my wife's." And so he calls TransUnion to figure out what the hell happened. And they're like, "Well, you actually weren't disqualified because of your income or your credit score. You were based it says here that your rental application was denied because of your resident score."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Fuck is a resident score?" And so he gets it explained to him, but what it is But that's about the equivalent of hitting the little lowercase I in a PlayStation menu. It doesn't tell you how to solve the problem because the guy couldn't tell him what it was based on, what his resident score was, or why how that resident score informed the property manager's decision to disqualify his application.
Yeah, resident score
Completely unregulated, has nothing to do, like Fair Housing Act has no language on this. State housing laws have no language on this. Even a city as out in front of this shit as New York, and with Mamdani coming, I'd be shocked. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he knows about it, but it's one of those obscure, granular things that only people like you and I pay attention to.
Yeah, it's a thing. You're right. I'm looking at it now. Like, it's a primarily used by landlords. Property managers predict how likely an applicant is to be a valuable tenant. I mean, it all sounds well intentioned on the surface, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Because as a landlord, you do want to protect yourself too. Also,
But
there are bad
this
tenants
is what
also
we
too.
talk about.
But
It's all in service of counteracting things that have created.
right,
It's rooted in racism, number one, because it's meant to stem the tide of black and brown advancement by white replacement theory rich guys. That's number one. But the unintended consequence to everyone else and benefit to a very small percentage of people is that it also just generally disaffects most people. It's that through a confluence of circumstances, those things more acutely impact black and
does
brown
every
people.
property
But
manager and
that's
landlord use
but
this now?
that's college tuition, privatizing of healthcare, FICA scores. That's all fruit of the same tree that was tended to by Reagan and his acolytes,
Right.
since the '60s. Because it was a counter move to civil rights movement. Like, there's another thing you can look up. There's it's called the Workers' Bill of Rights. It was supposed to be like the last phase of the of the New Deal, but Roosevelt died in office and never got a chance to champion it, and Truman wasn't for it. But look it up because Bernie talks about it.
Yeah, it's not a single binding federal law in the United States, rather a broad set of principles and demands advocated by labor organizations, activists, and some political figures. A good job of fair wages, quality health care, the right to organize, PTO, pay time off, and flexible scheduling, a safe job, retire with dignity. It doesn't exist right now currently. There are versions
No,
of
of
these
course
principles
not.
adopted and championed different levels. Labor
But it was
platform,
supposed to be the abstract
right?
for another set of legislation that would build upon what was established by the New Deal. Like I said, it would be like the next phase of the New Deal
Right.
that would then continue to expand the middle class and access to capital and socioeconomic ascension, all of these things. And through workers' rights, you would inherently fortify the quest for civil rights, because just like in fighting wars, what helped spark the civil rights movement? The fact that white farm boys from Iowa were fighting in trenches with black country boys from Louisiana, and then they got home and went, "The fuck are we not allowed to have breakfast together at the same diner?" The same tends to happen through labor organizing.
Yeah, it's subtle
You
things
know?
that are happening. That's
Yeah, like when you're a pipe fitter in LA and you work with 14 guys named Pablo, and then you see ICE raiding your work site, you're like, the fuck?
All right.
You know what I mean?
So
it radicalizes and aiding workers' rights decolonizes white
right,
people.
there you go. Yeah. Here's exhibit B here for you of MTG, because she basically was called a traitor.
Yeah,
by
point being,
Trump.
I don't buy her shit. I rate her first apology as incomplete because she doesn't take real accountability and she still supports the same policies.
Here's her press from yesterday.
A traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
I mean, that's
Okay,
about
so I'm
Israel.
going to jump right in and say right off the bat, your argument is rendered invalid because of two words.
Was it?
America first. Because for the historians listening, they will know that America first is a dog whistle to a fascist veil for right-wing ideology, that the before PACs were PACs, the America First Coalition was a group of it was a conservative think tank and effectively PAC, but just before they were called that. Let's call it a proto PAC in the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah.
That Rachel Maddow does a lengthy podcast covering. Was infiltrated by the Nazi propaganda machine insofar as they were literally sending out American tailored Nazi propaganda. I mean, I shit you not. Shit that had been sent out all over rural Germany was repackaged. The helmets were changed a little bit, the faces were changed a little bit, and the flags were changed a little bit. It was frame for frame, slide for slide, Nazi propaganda approved by Goebbels and distributed with American postage paid for by American tax dollars and workers being paid whose wages were being paid by American tax dollars out of the capital. Congressional offices were distributing Nazi propaganda and it was being funded by the America First Coalition. So anytime I hear somebody referencing America First, you're immediately fascist to me, or sus fascist at the very least, because that's a dog whistle to some shit that has been known and widely proven to have been co-opted by the Nazis in the 30s.
Could I argue that? Am I defending her at all? Because I do, like I said, I think there's still grip behind this. Could I argue that both be right here? That yes, it's definitely a dog whistle, but also the fact that there are overlaps here, politically speaking, that you do have with her in terms of how we spend our money in America, in terms of money sent to Israel, especially too, and she's been very vocal about that for the record, for months now.
Without looking it up, what election season did Marjorie Taylor Greene first? Like, what was her first session in Congress?
I want to say it was 2019. Was it 2019? I think it was. She won in 2018.
My point is,
she said 6 years. So
it was well after the 2015-16 campaign season. Am I correct?
Right.
All right. Well, So you resent the fact that he didn't like you because you a girl, and he picked all the boys over you, and you beat them anyway. And then the minute you got daddy's favor, you kissed the fucking ring for years and years and years. You spouted nonsense. And then the minute daddy turned on you and wouldn't let you use his credit card no more, suddenly it's fuck daddy. It's just, no.
I was wrong. I was wrong, buddy.
I'm
glad
you're starting to see some light. It is not nearly enough to remunerate the harm that you've caused, the causes that you've advanced, and you're still a fucking ghoul who supports terrible policies. It's just that, like, there's a handful of god-awful policies.
You got to start somewhere,
you
Mark.
can't.
You got to start somewhere, brother.
Yes, but I'm not. Okay, cool. It's like, all right, it'd be the equivalent of, like, I'm failing algebra and come home to my immigrant dad that by my next, like, 10-week progress report, I've pulled my grade up from an F to a C. Well, C is not fucking acceptable in my household either.
We both agree this is a grift. We agree. However, I don't want to get to the point where we're not allowing people to change. If the change is real, if she starts pivoting in a way where, oh, okay, policies, yes, and then she's apologizing, that's right, then maybe it changes. Because we have to, we gotta also be forgiving people, well, too. Also, if there is actually something to forgive, and if it's authentic.
100% true. Okay, so I said, what, you want me to give her a fucking cookie? I'll correct myself and say, yes, you can have a cookie, but don't give her a goddamn ticker tape parade.
Oh, no. Totally
that's more the point. And I think you make a really salient point because you're echoing something that Senator Brian Schatz said almost verbatim. And again, I have to throw credit to Rachel on Higher Learning, because it was her who highlighted this when they were having that like apology rating discussion. She and Van pointed to this to make your exact point. And that is, look, I'm not going to sit here and pat her on the forehead and tell her she's a big, brave girl because she finally stood up to the most abhorrent and disgusting policies that are like literally starving people and killing people.
Well, at least she's doing it.
I credit where credit due, but I'm not going to overpraise. However, as to Brian Schatz's point, we can't sit here and berate you and be immigrant parents about it and say nothing is ever good enough, because at some point you have to start bringing people in that you don't agree with, because the people that agree with us full bore are not numerous enough to win fucking elections.
And you lost some of them in the last couple of fucking cycles.
So you kind of got to take what you can get. And if it's enough that she'll at least turn on Trump, like, okay, fine. Like,
it's the same.
We can at least get coffee. I'm not saying we're getting back together, but we can at least get coffee.
The same situation with Candace Owens too. Also, Candace Owens, same situation. And Candace Owens has been very vocal about the Israel shit for a couple years now. It cost her a job, actually, with Ben Shapiro.
All right, here's my thing. I'm hesitant because this has been going on for 10 years, and they both have made a fuck ton of money and public profile growth because of perpetuating horrible things and putting people down and demonizing innocent people, all kinds of shit, right? Granted, you get one chance with me. I will, it's like, I won't come for you, but I'll at least be neutral about it. And to your point, like, yes, well, I accept Candace Owens voting Democrat or turning on Trump or whatever, let it, if Charlie Kirk is the thing that if truthing Charlie Kirk is what radicalizes her, well, then fuck it. Cool. My fear, my skepticism, and my cynicism tell me, though, that if the winds shifted enough to where coming off of that platform made financial or public opinion sense, they change their tune again in 2 fucking seconds.
Yeah, but it hurt
just
her.
Like JD Vance,
but
just
it did
like
hurt
so
her a little
many
bit,
people
though.
in the conservative movement.
It did hurt her a little bit, though, in the conservative atmosphere, because
but at some point, like, at some point, you're never going to please everybody. You just have and this is the problem that we have with politics, in why the sports and the horse race of it have pulled us so far from fact. Stop caring about what people think and trying to anticipate what they might vote for. Have a fucking idea, have a fucking principle, and stick to it. It's like, there's an episode of The West Wing where I believe Josh is talking to the pollster Joey Lucas.
Okay.
Played by Marley Matlin.
Joey, phenomenal role, by the way. Joey.
Yeah, amazing
the
recurring guest character on that show. Shout out to translator Kenny. That guy, like, he had a great radio voice. He nailed inflections with like great comedic timing. Like, it was all like the fact that you were having a one-on-one conversation, you were missing none of the context, none of the emotion, none of the subtext. And it was 3 people talking 2 different languages. And you just, it was a really fucking awesome element of that show. But the point is, I forget what they were arguing about specifically. I think it was at a time pre-re-election campaign when like Bartlett was just being a pussy about everything.
Yeah,
he was like just dipping his toe in the water and about everything, and Leo finally like kind of rips him a new asshole, and he's like, take a stand for something, take a position.
Leo, best character in the show.
And Joey is having a similar conversation with Josh, and she's saying it's like the French radical who says, there go my people, I must figure out where they're going so I can lead them. And it's like, no, you need to just have an idea that brings them to you. You need to have a position that brings them to you.
Correct.
So the point of all that is to say that, like, all of these politicians are so caught up in the sports center and the fucking horse race that, like, no, stop trying to anticipate what's going to get people to move. Just listen to what the people are telling you they want and what they need, and then construct policies or support policies that speak to and meaningfully address those needs, and then sell the shit out of them.
Yeah. Agreed.
And the people
Agreed.
will come to you. If you build it, they will come.
But
Nobody is selling, and this is exactly why the Democrats lost. They were too busy trying to anticipate what was fucking grabby and what would move people across lines, instead of just saying, hey, here's how I'm going to get the national minimum wage up to $14 an hour, and how that will precipitate getting the local minimum wages in places like Los Angeles and New York up to $22, $23 an hour. That would have got
they are the analytics crowd.
The
Republican Party are the more emotional.
My dad used to always say paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
but I do appreciate the fact that
you're so busy guessing what everybody's trying to do. You're not spending any time being creative, innovative, or just having a fucking idea.
This is what I'll give Candace Owens credit though. Like, the Israel thing isn't new. She didn't come out of nowhere. She challenged her boss. She challenged her boss on this while she was employed by the Daily Wire on the issues in Gaza, and she stuck to her guns, and it cost her a job.
Okay, so what I will say is, you know, like an Aussie would say, good on you. You know, good for you.
You're rough, bro.
But
I get it. I get it. The grift. I get it.
Let it. Okay, so a dear friend of mine, one of my best girlfriends in the whole wide world, she always says this, that an apology is a multi-phase process over an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Recognizing what you did, atoning for it, and apologizing for it is just the opening salvo to an entire symphony.
Well, she never apologized for it. She's still a conservative.
Before the end of that,
she is still conservative. Let's be clear about that. She's still conservative. In fact,
well,
I think
yes, and what I'm saying is that, like, an apology begins with obviously recognizing what you did, but now you have to take action to remedy that and truly be accountable and change your behavior and demonstrate that over a sustained period of time, it's not just the abusive boyfriend love bombing you for 3 months after slapping you in the face to get you to come back, and then everything flips right back to the way it was the second it's convenient and you've forgotten.
True, but I don't think
that's kind of the thing that I'm afraid. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens are abusive to the public, so I don't believe them when they say I'm sorry and buy me flowers. I'm gonna need to see a little more from
I also
you.
don't think it's right for us to think that because we are on the left side that we own that argument too. I think it's okay
100%.
for someone to conservative, right? If a conservative actually feels about domestic policy, but in terms of Israel, agree with that. It's okay.
You know, we've got, at least you, insofar as you and I in this show are concerned, we've got the receipts, because we've been. Have I not been every bit as hard on Bernie or Gavin Newsom as I have?
Oh, no. You're consistent.
Being right.
You are.
You
both are. You are, especially too. But
because trust me, I got as much smoke for Gavin Newsom as I've got for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care about a lot of Marjorie Taylor Greene's nonsense because it's just so far fucking out there and so far afield of reason. People like that don't warrant my time trying to convince them. But say somebody like Gavin Newsom, who I have an equal amount of smoke for, but has demonstrated he has a conscience, can listen, can be shown reason. He has good ideas and he has good ration. Like, even the ideas he has that I don't agree with, he has sound rationale behind his position that can be reasoned with. So cool. But yeah, I have as much smoke for the left as I do for the right.
Yeah.
I think that's important in saying, like, why I'm being kind of a stubborn ass about Marjorie Taylor Greene right now.
Right, I get criticized a lot by people on the left because they say that I critique the left more than the right. But the reason why I critique more left more than the right is because of the fact that if the left is the gatekeeper to keeping things sane, then I have to make sure you're correcting the thing. You can't tell me that Donald Trump is the threat to democracy, and then the solution that is to make sure the 18-year-old fucking guy who looks like he's about to die any minute now is the option. Sorry.
Well, and to your point, that's where Gavin Newsom deserves a flower, for example, because he can engage in the troll. He will bust balls with the best of them.
Oh, he's doing a good job of it.
He doesn't then go out and make a speech in an earnest condition and then spew like easily provable lies and mistruths. You know, the things he's saying about the positions he's holding or the bills he's vetoing or the bills he's signing, whatever that may be, or the campaigning he's doing, like the things he's saying factually check out way more often than not. It's not to say he's not incorrect. That's not to say he doesn't lie. That's not to say he doesn't mislead. Every fucking politician does. But the rate at which he does it is exceptionally low.
And I tell my friends all the time, like, I people continue to get themselves in knots of this shit. I keep it simple. Like, Donald Trump, even if he wasn't an authoritarian, I wouldn't vote for him. Because why? It comes down to the simplest things of why I do this in the first place. It's called policy. Do I like your policy? Yeah. Yes or no? If my mother, who I love to death, ran on Donald Trump's policy as president, my mom is not getting my vote. I'm that principle of the policy. Well, that's simple.
I look at it this way. At the end of the day, when you boil away, like this is the thing in movies, like whenever they try to like flick the ball sack of the villain, it's like, oh, so at the end of the day, your scheme just boils down to petty theft. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's an employer-employee relationship, and you shouldn't put any more emotion into your relationship with politics and policy than that, and politicians, because at the end of the day, they work for you. It is their job to get you what you need, and those two interests are diametrically opposed to each other, because them keeping their jobs in many ways is dependent on selling you the fuck out. So treat them like your employer treats you. Does your employer genuinely give a fuck about many of the circumstances or any of the circumstances taking place in your life if it impacts? No. They care about your production. They care about your attendance. They care about you shutting the fuck up and doing what you're told. So treat your politicians the same fucking way. Hold them to the standard of, are you doing the job? What have you done for me lately? And get back to fucking work. Stop treating them like sports teams. I can have a whimsical, emotional, silly relationship with a sports team because they don't pay my bills. It's not their job to pay my bills. Nothing they're doing impacts my day-to-day life other than maybe my blood pressure.
And that's by choice, for the record.
Yes. Stop treating politicians like sports teams. Treat them like what they are. You're fucking employees.
By the way, your voice acting, amazing. You use a good applause. Seriously. You just do.
That was a good little like quasi Jason Statham.
That was good. It is clear, though,